very good afternoon to all the participants who are listening this afternoon right here in the capital of Suva. It's quite overcast outside. I hope the listeners who are tuning in from the west, always the sunny west out there. So thank you for joining us, and welcome to the awareness webinars on the November 3rd TPOS processes that will go live. We started with the first awareness webinar the last 2 days with time to pay arrangement. Yesterday with the remission of penalties. For today in the morning, we did a first session on the tax compliance certificate, and the series of awareness webinars will end on the 27th of October. That is Tuesday next week. I am Wilmon Nelote, your host for this webinar. This is the third day of the webinar series on the processes that will go live on November 3rd. And once again, welcome to you all. Please kindly note that please keep your mic and camera muted so that there is minimal interference and in the sound and the slides that you will be receiving. The introduction is currently being done by me. My colleague, Mr. Ranil Prasad, will be doing the presentation and demonstration, followed by a question and answer session. Again, please kindly requesting if you mute your audio button on the left of the screen and video button right next to it. For question and answer session at the end of the presentation, please feel free to send us your questions through Q&A or the chat section during the webinar. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded for learning purposes and future improvement. The panelists this afternoon are Ranil Prasad, Devendra Prasad, Parisa Hussain, and myself. I will now let Ranil Prasad start the presentation. Over to you, Ranil.
Thank you, Mr. Nelote. Okay. Okay, like Mr. Nelote said, I will be presenting on tax compliance certificate, right, which will go live on November 3rd. So the objective of this awareness is overview of tax compliance certificate, new approach for tax compliance certificate, some important message, and demo. Okay, looking at overview of tax compliance certificate. Tax compliance certificate is regulated under the Tax Administration Act 2009. Section 74C2 dictates that a tax compliance certificate is proof of tax compliance for the requirements of any tax law specified in Schedule 2 and is valid for 1 year. Section 74D, a person may be refused a tax compliance certificate if a return required under a relevant law specified in the Schedule 2 or any tax liability under any tax law is outstanding. Section 74E, the CEO may revoke a tax compliance certificate issued under this Act if an applicant at the time of making the application knowingly furnished particulars that are found to be either materially incomplete or false. Okay, tax compliance check for different taxpayers. Right, companies, partnership, trust, estate, non-profit organizations, and individuals. Right, so tax compliance basically it checks for your outstanding obligations, either it be filing or payment. Right, for companies, it's going to check for directors, partnership, the partners, trustees, estate, beneficiaries, and for non-profit organization, it's board of directors. Now, for individual, it's demarcated into 3 groups, which is sole trader, salary and wage earner, and the unemployed. Okay, changes made in tax compliance certificate. All tax compliance certificate will be applied from TPOS, Taxpayer Online Services. System will check for outstanding obligation, that is filing, payment, and customs debt. All tax compliance certificate will be valid for 1 year. Tax compliance certificate will have revocation process. Certificate validator, which is newly implemented, available for anyone who wants to validate the certificates, including organizations who advertise for tender for supply of goods or services, and banks. Okay, some important messages. Cut-off date. Last issue of tax compliance certificate is 30th October 2020 at 4 p.m. Certificate validator. Good option for anyone. Businesses can go to the validator and verify if it is valid. No one can manipulate the certificate. All tax compliance certificate issued can be verified from certificate validator. Link in the website. Okay, this link will be provided in our main website, FRCS website, once we go live. All valid tax compliance certificate in our current system will be migrated to new system, which means if you have a tax compliance certificate, valid tax compliance certificate, it can still be validated in the new system using the certificate validator. Right, okay, given that, so we will be running a short demo, request for tax compliance, validation for tax compliance, and revocation for tax compliance certificate. Right, so we will go to TPOS. Right, we log in our credentials, username and password. Right. Once if you do not have username password, so please kindly sign up. You will get FRCS will provide you OTP. It's a first time login code, and then from there on you can sign up, and then you will get your username and password. Right. Once you get your username and password, you log in. So this is how your dashboard will appear. Right. For tax compliance, you go to the request tab. Click on request tab. Right. There are many options. You click on certificate. Right, and then you click on supporting tab, which is request for tax compliance certificate. Now you will need to fill this in. This is, remember, this is the electronic form that we are going to fill in, right? So which is followed by instructions, application form, and declaration, right? So the instruction is quite clear. Bullet 1 says, please submit this application as, sorry, please submit this application to request for a tax compliance certificate under section 74B of the Tax Administration Act. Your application will be rejected if you have any pending returns or outstanding liabilities. The CEO may revoke a tax compliance certificate if you, at the time of making the application, knowingly furnished particulars that are found to be either materially incomplete or false. After you have read and understood, you can click on declaration checkbox and then continue. Right? Okay, so reasons for requesting a tax compliance certificate. Even in the manual form, everyone needed to write down the reasons, right? Likewise for electronic. So you will get 9 reasons. If none of this is applicable, then you can always choose others, right? So like if you're applying for bank, you click on to apply for bank and then which bank you're applying for, right? If you want to register a vehicle, you can always click and then where this is needed, right? So for the purpose, okay, I will choose to apply for a bank loan, right? Okay, so which the tax compliance certificate being requested for the purpose of which government department or entity. Okay, so basically who is requiring this, right? We'll say ABC bank, right? So then after this, I click on continue. Okay, that's because I am using a non-individual TIN, right? So we need to enter TIN and designation. If, however, any individual salary and wage earner is applying, the tin will be pre-populated, right? So if the representative is applying, so they will need to enter tin and the designation, right? For example, accountant, and then you click on declaration, right? Okay, so here's the catch. After you have done the declaration, and you will see the warning message pop up, right? So the two warning message here is you have overdue payment obligation. Your application may be rejected unless these are cleared. You have overdue filing obligation. Your application may be rejected unless these are cleared. Okay. So regardless, you get this message, right? You know that you have made arrangement with FRCS. You can close this. You can add note. Right? And you can write down your points, as in why you are sorry, that regardless those warning message, you are requesting for tax compliance certificate. Right? You save, and then after that you can click on submit. Basically, you have applied for tax compliance certificate online. It's quite simple and easy process, right? For confirmation, you can always download the acknowledgement letter, and this is how it will look like, right? Acknowledgement request for tax compliance certificate. Okay. So this is important because you will get the reference number here. Just in case if FRCS has not responded to you, right, and you need to expedite your tax compliance certificate, you can always call or visit the office with this reference number. Right. Okay. So basically, I showed you how one can apply for tax compliance certificate. Now, I will use another login where I have already applied for tax compliance and the tax compliance has been granted, and will show you how the authentication link works. Okay, so I will just log into one username where tax compliance certificate is issued. Right, so once this tax compliance certificate is issued, it's going to sit on your correspondence style. This correspondence style basically cater for any documentation you deal with FRCS. Right, so you'll see the tax compliance is here, and you can click on download. You can always print on your end. Right, so this is how tax compliance certificate will look. You can note the date, TIN, and the reference number, and to whom it was issued. Right, so like I mentioned, and let me reiterate that the tax compliance will be valid for 1 year, right? So for the FRCS validation link, okay, so this link will be provided to anyone. This will be uploaded in FRCS website, right, after we go live. So this certificate authenticator, anyone can click on, anyone can verify here. So you click on drop down, select tax compliance certificate. Now there are two mandatory fields, which are TCC reference number and date of issue, right? So in the tax compliance certificate, you will see this is the reference number, right? And this is the date of issue. So I can just copy from here and paste it here. Copy the date. Right, so once you enter TCC reference number and date of issue, you click on verify. Right, so this validation link will read as verified. The tax compliance certificate you have just entered is authentic. Right. Okay, so this is how anyone and any organization who is requiring tax compliance certificate can go through this process, right? Okay, so something new which is this validator and also the revocation process, right? However, if anyone who has defaulted their payments or filing obligations or has provided some false information to FRCS, right? So FRCS will make the revocation process, right? So once the tax compliance has been, once the revocation process has been completed, right, FRCS will issue a notice. Okay, let me log into one account and I will show you. Right, okay, so for this particular account, we have done the revocation, right? So basically the revocation will be also sitting on the correspondence tile. You see the tax compliance certificate was issued previously, after which we made a revocation process, right? Let me download to show some comparison. Okay. So this is the initial tax compliance certificate which was issued to the taxpayer, right? After which followed by we made a revocation. This is how the revocation process will look like. Please be informed that the tax compliance certificate number, the reference number will be there, issued on you on the date which it was issued is hereby revoked by immediate effect because you have dishonored payment arrangement. So the reasons will be reasoned out here in the letter. Right. Please also note that even though your tax compliance certificate, the revocation is there, anyone can again reapply for tax compliance certificate. Right. Okay. So the quick check. So even though this taxpayer, they have tax compliance certificate, right? But revocation has been done. So okay. So how will anyone validate? How will one check with to if whether this tax compliance certificate is valid or not, right? Okay, we again go to the authenticator, the validator link. Click on tax compliance certificate, and the same process, right? We enter the details, the reference number, and the date of issue. Sorry. See, the validator site reads as revoked, right? The tax compliance certificate you have just entered has been revoked by FRCS on the date, therefore it is no longer valid. So even though anyone who takes this tax compliance letter, right, it is not valid because revocation has been made by FRCS. So after revocation notice is done, revocation process has been done, you can again go to the request tile and the same process you can reapply. Okay, so yeah, basically that's all. It's a very simple process. You can apply wherever there is internet access, you can access TPOS and you can apply. This is quite simple, and yes, basically this is going to save some papers. Thank you very much. Now I will hand over to Mr. Nalute.
Thank you, Ranil, for the presentation, and also to the listeners, the participants this afternoon. I will now hand over to Mr. Diban Prasad to go through the questions and answers and provide it to you. Thank you. Diban.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Willy. Thank you, participant, for raising some of the important questions. We have received a question that currently FRC is issues a temporary TCC. Will TPOS allow temporary TCC while taxpayer updates any outstanding matters with FRCS? So the answer for that is we will tax compliance certificate is valid for 1 year according to TPOS. However, we may revoke the compliance certificate if taxpayer does not honor the payment arrangement within the time provided by FRCS. So note that this issue will be valid until 31st December. However, this may be revoked if taxpayers do not honor filing and payment obligations within the time provided by FRCS. And the second question that we received is that TCC issued will be temporary for 1 month, like previously we were issuing for. Will the TCC will be automatically revoked if there is any outstanding filing? It won't be revoked automatically, but it will depend on the FRCS officers to revoke the tax compliance certificate if taxpayers do not honor the payment and filing obligations. The other questions that we have received is Bola, I note that the validity of TCC is 1 year. My question is this will be 12 months or will be valid until the end of the current year, which is the submission was done. Basically, in this question, all the tax compliance issued by FRCS will be valid till 31st December. It will be expiring on the 31st of the current year calendar and valid till 31st December. Taxpayer may reapply via TPOS on the following year, that is 1st of January. So please note that all the tax compliance will be expiring on the 31st of December for the current year calendar. And the other question that we have received at what if we want TCC to open address for various purposes? So this basically means that you can use it's a standard TCC and you can use for all organization and entities. The tax compliance certificate is standard only for the application process. You have to choose one entity, but later on you can use that same tax compliance certificate to all the entities, the banks, the land transport authority or any other entities. So basically that's a standard TCC and you can use for any other organizations. And I hand over to Willie now. Thank you.
Thank you, Diven, and thank you, participants. Just something to reiterate on this session. The webinar video and the question and answers will be posted on the FRCS website, that is www.frcs.org.fj. You click on our services, go to Taxpayer Online Services, webinar sessions. You will have the webinar video and the question and answers posted within 2 weeks from today. And importantly, the user manual, this applies to this one, will be there before November 3rd go live. So it will be on that same link, our services, Taxpayer Online Services, go to user guides. So, and also just to mention again, which is very important, anyone like can go and validate the tax compliance certificate and the certificate validator. We will inform you of exactly where in the website it will be placed. And this is important. Please, if you have any queries on general matters, please go to our send the email to info@frcs.org.fj. Our contact center is open from Monday 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays, Mondays to Friday, and also Saturday 9 to 1 p.m. And our hotline is there 1326. Please If you have any issues, we are about to go live with this process, and it's very important that you actually understand and know the process going forward in terms of tax compliance certificate. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your participation this afternoon. We have noted all your questions and input, and the team has already addressed it, and also we will put it in the question and answers that we'll be posting in our website. Please join us tomorrow on Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock, for the request for clarification awareness webinar. It's the last webinar series for the November 3rd Go Live sessions. You can use the same login link and password that you used for today's session. Before we end, we would like to ask all the participants today to please spare a few minutes and go to the SurveyMonkey link shown on the screen and fill in the feedback survey. Your feedback is important and will help us improve. I'll leave this screen on for a few minutes so that you can note down or screenshot the link before we end the meeting. With these few words, thank you all once again. Stay safe and goodbye.